We are waiting for Commissioner Dahl to log in. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 1:30 Commissioners Conference. We'll begin with a report from Human Resources, followed by the auditor's update, a discussion of staff meeting needs, and then miscellaneous. So with that in mind, welcome, Jessica.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jessica Warren with Human Resources.
How many people have left employment?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can get that information for you.
You're always telling us how many people are having to hire.
Oh, yeah. I think more hiring than people leaving, hopefully. So, first item I
I
have.
was listening to our discussion this morning.
Oh, did I miss something this morning?
Kim mentioned how the new Cisco system will give us the capacity of adding 20% more in employment. And I
Oh,
said,
okay, gotcha.
that's not happening. It's not in the works at all.
First item I have comes from the event center. We workshopped this a couple weeks ago and received union authorization to reclassify the event worker to salary grade 175. It was previously at 120, so I'm asking for approval for that.
Any questions?
No, that's
Okay.
And then second part of that is the request to fill her vacant event worker position. She has one opening.
And that goes to union members first, or?
Yep, it's posted to 1262 first, and then it would be posted to the public if nobody
right.
fills it.
Any objection?
no.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. And last item I have comes from the prosecuting attorney's office. Ryan, if you wanted to come up and talk about your two requests. The first one is to fill the open legal specialist position at step 4. And then the second one is to fill the open office specialist position at step 4.
All right. Welcome back.
Good afternoon. We're looking to fill 2 positions, effectively filling 3 positions. Does that make sense? We have a front desk position, which is the office specialist position. That person that was in that position after 5 or 6 months, her last day of work was not this past Friday, but the Friday before. She moved on to greener pastures, more money at the PUD. So one of my requests is to fill that position with an individual who we would like to bring her in at a step 4. The office specialist ranges in salary between $32.90 at step 1 up to $38.70 a month at step 7. The incremental difference between those 7 steps is approximately $100 a month. The person we want to bring in, or at least provide an offer to, we want to bring her in at step 4, so directly in the middle. Reason for that is this particular individual has, I think, 11 years, about 13 years experience, criminal justice related, 2 of those being a victim advocate tied to the Longview Police Department, which is very important for the front desk person, as well as, I believe, 11 years at 911. So she has pretty substantial experience in the criminal justice system, which I think will translate a lot over to what the front desk person does. Answer phones, bring in documentation, scan documents, deal with individuals, victims, witnesses, sometimes defendants. So just asking that we be able to offer her a step 4, which is only a few $100s above step 1 regardless, but I think she's definitely
So is she coming over from 911 or from the
She's-
LPD?
neither. She's not working currently. Getting back into the workforce. So that front desk person, yes, office specialist. That's my request related to that particular position. Any questions on that?
And that would be at step 4.
Yes. So step 1 is at $32.90 a month. Step 4 would be $35.79. So it's about just under $300 more than the bottom step per month.
And it sounds like she brings an awful lot of experience that a step 1 person you wouldn't expect to have.
I will say that the person that left was a couple steps lower than that, if I recall correctly. But with the current environment, I feel like that's,
Any other questions? Any
No,
objections?
no.
Okay.
the other position is legal specialist. We currently, for legal specialist openings within our office, we currently have our civil division support staff position that's been open for months. And we have a temporary civil legal specialist position that we have left open now for quite some time. In an attempt to fill the civil, so that's to work with Doug, David, and then our empty attorney position in the civil department. What we would like to do is offer the opportunity for one of our current legal specialists who is working the district court desk to transition her over to civil and to bring somebody in to replace her at the district court legal specialist desk. We would also like to hire that person in at a step 4. The reason for that is the person has a desire to do victim advocacy. A lot of the district court stuff is a lot of busy work. That particular person has to maintain basically about 1,500 cases a year, which includes obviously the filings, the transition of discovery to our office, to the public defender's office, primarily deal with all the victim advocacy related to any victim crimes of those 1,500 misdemeanors, has to deal with daily court dockets, multiple attorneys. So I'm a little, I guess, with respect to that particular person, it has to be a smart individual that is very organized, is on top of it, that's going to get stuff done with minimal supervision. I think we found that person. The legal specialist position is a higher pay scale than the office specialist. Legal specialist ranges in the same 7 steps. It starts out at $38.30 a month at step 1 and goes up to $45.06 per month. I want to hire this person in at step 4 as well, which is $41.68. So it's about $300 higher than step 1. We have an individual that has done, well, it's an individual who has a lot of education, master's degree, as well as a bachelor's degree in human development, is a current business owner of 5 or 6 years. So she does the day-to-day, the day-to-day and the bookkeeping of that particular business. Although I think a lot of that's been handed off now. She also has experience, working desks and administrative stuff. So we'd like to bring her in as a step 4 as well. So if she accepted that position, we would then move the person that's in that position into the civil position, which would fill that. So those are my 2 requests.
Any questions? So both of these suggest then we can't hire people at the bottom step anymore. Is that a good
I'm not saying we
observation
can't,
that
but
the wage rates are too low?
I think that's what we need to look at next in my office. I know from an attorney perspective, we Mr. Marr and I have had conversations, with HR. Probably need to come talk to you guys again, but that's kind of separate from the support staff side of it. But I can say from a general perspective, historically, in 8 years, historically, I think I've been pretty stable. That seems to have changed in the last, well, definitely since COVID, but the last year or two. Whether attorneys or support staff, it seems like the primary reason that people leave are substantially more money elsewhere, whether that's to a separate state like Arkansas, like a new attorney who's or maybe an existing attorney who has quite a few years underneath their belt who get a position in Clark County. I know Clark County isn't technically one of our comps for analysis purposes, but it's something to consider. I know looking at recent information, I believe from, Lewis County, who is one of our comps, they just had a pretty substantial increase in salaries, at least in, the prosecutor's office, but they're kind of stuck in the same boat as we are. We have Clark County to, for them, it's Thurston County and Pierce County. But yeah, I mean, it seems like I'm losing people due to money. Yeah. I know there are some counties, historically, your rural counties that aren't near a highway, always have difficulty hiring attorneys. Locally, attorneys are drying up much quicker than they are coming in, but I know some counties are offering, almost $100,000 to a brand new attorney. As we're with our current pay scale, that takes quite a few years. So I saw Kittitas County. I got the email as well as everybody in my office. They're using third party. I can't remember the name of the company. I talked to
Prometheus, something along those lines. Yeah.
Basically headhunters, Kittitas County's paying a lot of money to find attorneys to come into their office. When I know we got a quote, I think for some other county department position in the last few years, but all this company really had to do is get the WAPA listserv on all the emails to prosecutors throughout the state and send it out. It seems like pretty easy work for them for whatever they're getting paid to say, come to the great, county of Kittitas where they have a rodeo once a year.
Yeah.
But what Kellis has the advantage of is more relaxed lifestyle and a boss to die for, right?
Yeah. I'm here, but yeah, I mean, it just seems like obviously there's a shift in at least newer attorneys. I think I've mentioned this before. It doesn't seem like the number of people taking the bar exam has gone down, but it just seems like a lot of your younger people, for some reason, want to stay in the very urban areas of the Puget Sound. And you ever catch me living in Seattle? And
Yeah. I think, on the call we did, the Law and Justice call, I think Judge Basher was talking about the number of attorneys in Calais County has actually decreased.
yeah, I don't pay as much attention to the, civil bar or whatnot, but I mean, there's been a lot more retire and or move on, than have come in. And even then they still want to live, and some of them still want to live in Portland or Vancouver, but yeah, I just had a young up and coming guy who was from Tumwater, and it's been a few months now, but he took a job for this new state attorney general in Arkansas, making 100,000 just got his first year under his belt. So, and that's Arkansas.
Any other questions? Any objections with this proposal?
No.
Nope. Go ahead.
Thank you. Those are the only two items I have today, unless you have anything for me.
Make that problem go away.
I'm working on it. Thank you.
All right. Ellis County Auditor update. But I don't see her on the list. I see Stacy's there. Good afternoon, Stacy.
Hello.
What do you have for us? Other
I
than-
don't have anything. I actually just had free time, which never
Uh-oh.
happens at this hour. So
Oh my gosh.
I thought I'd log in, see what's happening.
And? Whoa,
Nothing.
I can't remember the last time we talked to you and you weren't freezing or heated.
I'm always heated.
I gotta change my way. Words have meanings, don't they? Okay,
No, things are good.
good. That's good to hear. We have Carolyn listed on the agenda. Can you give her a call or find out what it is? Do you know what she's talking about? What's she talking about? All right, I see Mr. Moss is here.
I'm just here to say hi, like Stacy, just we're
Oh.
prepping, getting ready for cold conditions coming to our roads here the next couple of days. And hopefully Stacy's just smiling as much as she is today, later in the week when it's 15 degrees outside and HOJ is about 50 degrees.
I'll be fine.
Okay, good. We're gonna hold you to that.
We're learning to manage the fluctuation in temps. I think everybody has mittens or gloves, hand warmers. We've got blankets, thick woolly socks. So we're good
What-
with drop. It's what we don't want to see when it gets really hot in here.
All right. Well, I think we'll then move on. We had on our agenda a discussion of the staff meetings, our needs, and an update on are we going to continue them? What format do they need to be? And I know that was a discussion a little bit earlier, last couple of weeks or so. Kelly, what did we have a look at? We didn't get much of a response that everybody wanted a full staff meeting every month.
It was about 75% of them were okay with the meeting being eliminated.
All right. Any, are we okay with that? 75% said no, we don't find value in that meeting.
I agree. I never got much out of them.
Crickets chirping just don't do anything for you.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
I know the first couple of years, it was always interesting to hear. You get a sense of what's going on in the different offices, but that stopped happening, so. We can free up our monthly Wednesdays.
Okay.
Anything else?
I believe Carolyn updated us this morning with what she wanted to talk about,
Oh,
the public
okay.
comments, yeah.
Oh, the increase in fees or what? Okay.
Yeah, I had not, but that law hadn't passed yet, but it seems to be on its way. And what was the other one that you mentioned? Was another one that I'd heard about, but there was a second issue that you had mentioned. That was a bigger topic of discussion amongst you.
The pay per mile,
Oh, yeah, pay per mile. That's the alternate to the gas tax.
1832, although the gas tax stays in effect for, she said, 20 years, but you can apply
You have a
for
credit, yeah.
apply for it to credit against your other billing.
And I thought it was interesting. I just briefly looked at it and the description said only for vehicles that went over 15 miles an hour or 35 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
something like that.
So farm equipment was not intended to affect farm equipment, just trucks and passenger cars.
Well, most of those have hour meters anyway, so they track them.
Yeah. Anything else?
As a miscellaneous,
Mhm.
As the miscellaneous, I got a letter over the weekend or an email from someone from the Clark County Recovery Cafe. Did you get to see that letter? Uh, You know, the Recovery Cafe is the sister of the Chai Cafe.
Right.
Right. And she just wanted a letter of support for a grant that they're going after. And she thought it would help if it got a support from Cowlitz County. And I said I would, that she had my support and I would
Yeah.
check with the board.
I saw that email, yeah. Right.
So the grant would go to help this one also, because they're linked, or?
Best of my knowledge, you're not linked.
Oh. Hmm.
But remember, I went to see them quite a long time ago, and that's how I got the idea that this Chai Cafe would probably be a reasonable thing also. It was pretty well operated.
Hmm.
I have to be careful at my age. A week, a month, a year, a decade, they're all the same. So if you're okay with that, I sent her a response saying, draft something up and we will
Okay,
take a look at it.
sure.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Okay. We'll look forward to hearing from that.
I would say her name, except it starts with a W.
Not critical right now, huh?
Right.
What's up? Okay.
Oh, I just remember it was a few weeks ago. I think there was a constituent who was making complaints at Tim Suitnen was talking about, I think it was the shoplifting and charging kids with burglary and law enforcement, and obviously using the county in order to get felonies versus misdemeanors by which they have to pay for jail space and whatnot. So it was just something that popped in my head just now, but if you guys had any questions about that, but I can tell you, I think after subsequently hearing those comments, it was kind of inferred that all these kids are getting charged with burglary for shoplifting candy bars or whatnot. So the commercial burglary statute basically comes into play when somebody gets no trespass from a business and then they go back and commit theft or another crime against person. So in talking to my last two juvenile deputies, so 12 to 17-year-olds is what you're generally dealing with in juvenile system. Neither of them ever recalled charging a juvenile with burglary or a commercial theft ever. So just so you guys know, generally speaking, when somebody potentially is looking for a burglary in the second degree felony, so obviously juveniles, it never happens. Adults, basically, if somebody is no trespassed, or obviously they commit a theft over a felony value, $750. So if they're unlawfully entering, subject to violating a no contact order and commit theft, then they are potentially criminally liable for a burglary in the second degree, which is a Class B felony. We have criteria we look at with regard to that. Certain things are how old's a no contact order. If it's a no contact order that's 5 years old, that's not something we charge. We generally require that there be a no contact order within within the past year. Other thing, obviously, is the nature of the theft. If it's a felony theft, then we will go forward on a burglary and a theft. Generally, what we're looking at, if we're going to charge a felony burglary, that they've had multiple contacts, theft-related contacts in the last 6 months. So it's not somebody going into whatever Woodland Walmart or Fred Meyer's stealing a candy bar that's getting charged with felonies. A lot of the fact patterns we see nowadays is it's basically a business at this point. A lot of the people that are contacted and arrested are from up north, down south, running the I-5 corridor with commercial box stores, which obviously Cowlitz County is right on I-5. And I guess perhaps putting a Walmart right off the freeway is a great idea for sales tax revenue, but when it comes to crime, it's easy pickings for career shoplifters. So I just wanted to point out to you guys that A, there aren't kids getting charged with felonies unnecessarily. And B, we're more selective with charging those against adults than basically what the statute in and of itself is. So just some comments on, I think that was maybe a month ago, I can't remember, but just some context on, I guess, that particular issue. So.
If it's any help, I didn't think anything of that comment. I was pretty sure that you folks take a look at the short and the long-term consequences of your actions. So I didn't really have any concern there. It may have been part of a greater discussion about people that have an F on their report card find employment hard to come by. And, you know, I've met some people who have been felons, and I really trusted them. I can't explain how they did whatever they did, but I look at them today and I know it's not a problem. But for them, trying to find employment is a problem because of check the
housing.
box. Yeah, and so I don't know how I don't have any solutions. I just have an appreciation that it is an issue.
Yeah, for sure. But generally what we're dealing with are not individuals who are one and done. It's a constant aspect of their life, generally.
Is there any concept at all that I can't imagine, but I'll ask it anyhow. It'll seem a bit stupid. Can you vouch for somebody? Can the prosecuting attorney's office or the prosecuting attorney vouch for an individual that has an F on the report card? I know it's a dangerous thing to do.
Like vouch how so? A letter of recommendation?
Something like that would be probably not bad.
I guess perhaps. I mean, we have people that, and this is kind of obviously office work related, but we have plenty of people who go on our felony diversion program, which is generally for lower level felonies. They've never had a prior felony. They maybe have had a misdemeanor, and it's their opportunity to do a few things, do some community service, write a letter to the victim, maybe anything else that we ask for, check in once a month, 12 months, you know, there's no felony case. So generally speaking, anybody who, you know, I guess, you know, you have district court, which is your misdemeanors, gross misdemeanors. You know, that's where most of the general public may have some kind of experience, whether it's maybe some kind of lower level DV incident or DUI or whatever it may be. Then obviously you have your felony. So there's a lot of opportunities in the court system, you know, to either avoid that conviction and or get the help that you want, whether it's drug court or mental health court. But nonetheless, we're talking about somebody who maybe messed up that one time, you know.
Yeah, I think
there's that
that's what we're
opportunity.
trying- Yeah, I think it's more historical in that sense. I think the problem with we're a little glib of saying you can work through the court system. Court systems aren't very friendly in a lot of instances. They try to be, but it's foreboding and hands are tied and all that. So if a constituent comes to me and says something, I can say, well, why don't you make an appointment to talk with the PA and see if there's any interest there.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put some context on that because
Great. Thank you. Got any questions for our prosecutor? All
I
right.
do not.
We actually have Marin and Molly listening in as an attendee. Marin, how's it going? We missed you yesterday since it was a holiday. There she is. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I don't know if I missed you guys yesterday, but I'll
Oh.
say I did.
Well said.
We were at 258 this morning, so we're well back to well back to some pre-COVID numbers. So that's pretty tight. Most of our cells have 5 or 6 in general population, but we'll also see quite a few releases today.
Okay. All right. I think that's good to hear. in a way. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I know
the
what you're
numbers are
saying.
up as opposed to having the other reasons for not being able to utilize everybody.
Right, but
obviously.
with those numbers, you also have to keep in mind with the Blake decision. That would, our numbers would be much higher with, if FUXA were still something that was a bookable offense. So I would say we're kind of above the base for pre-COVID right now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And District Court, Molly, how are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon. I don't really have anything to add. I'm just listening in also. We're doing well over here, but like Marin said about Blake, if the legislature decides to make all of those charges gross misdemeanors here soon, we'll be in a whole different place shortly. So see what happens.
How many years they taking that back?
It goes all the way back to,
71, wasn't it?
70?
I was gonna say 71, but give or take, yeah.
Wow.
But now it's, we made a lot of efforts with a lot of orders vacating, but now there's potential legislation on there to basically go on. And I don't know if I haven't paid much attention at last week on legislative updates, at least with respect to WAPA, but there's some potential legislation out there to try to go the reimbursements outside, the four corners of the judgment sentence. So other potential things that the individuals may have spent money on, like probation costs or treatment costs or other things that aren't even within the judgment sentence, which potentially creates an issue of having to do a lot of work that's already been done again. So I don't know if that's going to go anywhere traction wise, but time will tell. I think the vast majority of individuals never paid any LFO obligations anyway. So one aspect to it.
All right.
These things drive me crazy, so I've got to ask a crazy question. Does the estate of a person in that category get to claim the refund?
If they want to make that request, they can. I don't think we've gotten any of those, but technically
Now the
yeah.
cat's out of the bag.
I don't know if that's come across the clerk's listservs and what Stacy's dealt with, but legally, I could see that being a feasible.
So that's Tracy's job, or that's Stacy's job, right? Taking care of all the
No.
Blake estate
Yes and
claims?
no. She just popped up.
We're issuing the refund notices. I missed the first part of the question. Were you asking if somebody could file on behalf of an estate?
So I was a felon and I qualify for refunds based on Blake, but I've passed away. Can my estate claim?
Nope,
You're sure?
not at this point. That would take legislative change. At this point, no, it is payable to the offender. Not that that's not subject to change.
Just give it time.
So what odds are Ryan giving you that the law won't change?
That's probably something they haven't thought about yet, the estate, but I think
Oh,
right now
no.
they're focusing on all the other incidental costs.
We've had a request.
Hmm.
A mother,
Already have a request for an estate?
a mother called requesting the refund that was due to her son.
Mhm.
She was contacting counsel, so I haven't heard back yet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a crazy question after all.
No?
No,
All right. Anything else we brought to our attention? All right. I guess we are done for this afternoon. Enjoy lunch, Aaron.